Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Section. I'm Tom Webster and I'm glad to be here again with Scott. Thanks for joining us again.
Cheers, Matt.
Uh, right, guys, you've got to get following Scott on Twitter and please like and comment on this show. Um, I'd like to be honest with you, I'd like to find out where everybody's from because yeah, we're a Barnsley show really, but there's plenty of other teams in this league. I know Ems is a tractor girl, and we've got Josh, who is part of the Cider Army. So it'd be very interesting to find out who else is in our league. Um, First off, we're going to have a look at game week two, and there's only one place I'm going to start off here, Scott, and that's the head-to-head.
Oh
And
no.
I don't want to I don't want to brag or anything because I didn't particularly do that well this week, but I did just slightly better than you. Um,
Oh
do,
no.
do, you want, do you want to
What a
comment
great
on
week.
that? Do you want to explain how you did this week?
Yeah, I mean, I went with 2-2-2 and that didn't go particularly well. I went with Salih again and he didn't particularly do well either. I went with double Leicester defence, thinking that would go down well. And then of course Wednesday Chavinski were out and out. But yeah, 59 points for me, shocking really, going to standards of what other people got. Um, but it's a long season and I'll just have to keep it in.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm playing catch up anyway. Right, so we'll get straight on to the awards, and to start with, I'm going with the top team, and that is Tranmere. They won 4-0 at home against Shrewsbury. And we're top team, you know there has to be a banter side, and it's only one banter side this week, and it is Sheffield United losing 4-1 at home to Bristol City. And like I say, our resident Bristol City fan Josh will be over the moon with that one, but I'm pretty sure he's not as happy as me and Scott. Um, uh,
Oh
a
no,
good one that this week, both Wednesday and United losing.
oh
Um,
no, double.
So, Starman of this week is Scott Twine, huge 22 points there. Hans pick of the week is Lincoln's Adam Jackson, -3. He was
Mm.
poor. Our people's champ is Barnsley Bennett with 91 points, which is a pretty decent showing. And the one you have all been waiting for, the participation award, the well done for trying, the wooden spoon. This week it's Barnsley Boo Boys. We're miserable 29. I mean, that is pretty terrible. So yeah, that's the awards. And now for your ultimate team, and this is the best possible team you could have had. Again, the formation is a 2-3-1, same as last week, and it's Tom Booth for Crew in the net with 9 points. Nathan, and I'm going to absolutely ruin this name, and I apologise profusely. Uh, Aswillimwe for Wimbledon, 18. Jack
Yeah.
Watmore, Huddersfield with 16. That's your defence out of the way. Midfield is Scott Twine, Bristol City, 22. You captained him, it's massive, 44 points. Owen Bailey for Doncaster is 20. And again, I'm going to absolutely crucify this name. But Bilal El Hunnos for Leicester with 17 points. That basically wraps up your midfield. And Will Davis for Fleetwood up top with 13. Now, you could have had a couple of different goalkeepers, and you could have had a couple of different strikers as well. But they're the ones I've gone for. And your two teams are Tranmere and Bristol City, and that wraps up your ultimate team. Um, Now that wraps up game week two as well. Scott, looking forward to game week three. It's a double header this weekend, midweek
Yeah,
games and the
first one.
weekend, but only for League One and League Two. So, are you ignoring the Championship and loading your team with League One and League Two players and teams, or are you still picking a few Championship players in there?
Yeah, I think you've got to just go for League One and League Two players. It's double chance of points really. And don't get me wrong, there will be some good Championship players and Championship assets, but there's equally good League One and League Two picks that have two fixtures as well. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I think you should just stack on League One and League Two, and then wait next week. when you can pick Championship players.
Excellent. Right. And for the second week, as I mentioned earlier, midfield seems to be king. Um, so are you going with the 2-3-1 formation, or are you still sticking? Because you said right at the beginning that you were going to back defence this year as a safe bet, but I think the
Yeah,
point system's sort of throwing a few people off.
it's balanced, but yeah. Yeah, I set weight defence and I've gone for 2-2-2 twice in a week. I don't know if that's me getting a bit greedy there. But I think I will, due to how bad I did last game week, go at 3-2-1. I think it is predominantly the most safe formation. I know obviously a lot of people might not think that, but I think you are relying a lot on your big hitters like DKD, Molyneux, the people like that to be scoring consistently. And I feel like we're 2-3-1, you're always like chasing the goal, whereas with defensive one, you're always trying to preserve it. So I'm just gonna safe this week and hope it pays off.
There's a couple of defenders that stuck out for me. Basically, goal scoring defenders, big centre backs. One of his is
Yeah,
Hellick, and the others is
yeah,
Mads. Um, Obviously ex Barnsley players, so obviously know a little bit about them. Um, would
yeah,
you sort of think about backing big centre backs, or are you
yeah.
still hoping on the wings that they might get an assist? Sorry, wing backs, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
I'd still say that your more traditional centre half is still better on average, especially in your more defensively oriented sides that are more secure with clean sheets. I mean, I'm looking at Dunkley for Chesterfield. He's been out for quite a while, but I think I saw a stat saying that he averages one goal every 9 games. I know he hasn't played obviously a lot of games because he's been injured, but he's one to look for. Pierre Gianni for Stevenage, I think he chipped in me a couple of goals last season. So yeah, for me, I think you've got to be looking at them players as well as your fullbacks. Obviously, there are some that are on penalties that are outliers a bit, but obviously like Burrows from last game week. But I do question Sheffield United a bit. So there's a couple of them teams. I think Will Wright for Swindon, but again, they're not defensively great. So I think a lot with them type of players, you've got to just avoid them and just go for a clean sheet, which is most valuable thing for a defender.
So we're looking um, basically at teams that I would predict to be sort of mid-table for defence, because
Yeah,
obviously you want them to not have possession of the ball so much that they're not actually getting the blocks and the clearances in. But you
yeah,
want them to be
exactly.
poor enough, have that. So obviously, I'm looking at like Huddersfield, and yeah, they're getting clean sheets, but they're not. There's not massive amounts of blocks and clearances. We're just
Yeah,
sort of like your Mansfields, your Stevenage, although they have won both games.
Stephen Ajay.
Yeah, I was sort of looking at. Have I just muted myself? Sorry, I thought I just muted myself then. Technology and old people. Um, yeah, I've lost my train of thought as well now. Yes, Stevenage, sorry. Looking at those sort
Yeah,
of teams that I think probably might end up being mid-table, um,
yeah.
but still keep quite a few clean sheets. So I
Yeah,
didn't know
I,
if,
I agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
that's-
Stevenage as well have a solid chance of a clean sheet this week. I think they've got Northampton at home, uh,
yeah,
Port Vale,
yeah.
which is a bit worse, but I think he's going to be a decent pick as well as Dunkley. I think he's got Bristol Rovers at home and Gillingham away, so not too bad fixtures for goal scoring centre halves. So
Excellent. Right. Um, so this week I went for goal scoring midfielders that play a little bit higher. Um,
yeah,
and you could possibly consider them attackers. So I had DKD and Sam Smodic in there. Do you think there's any more players that may be out of position that could add
yeah.
value to his viewers' squads?
Yeah, Cabia for Grimsby. He's playing as number nine. So kind of like our DKD were playing in that 4-3-3 last season.
Yeah.
But a bit further up actually. He's on penalties. Like I said, registered as a midfielder. He scored 2 in 2 now. He's playing against relegation to Newport and Walsall away, I believe. So there's a couple of decent fixtures there for him. He's a very good pick. I'm looking at Kelly and Mike, who's a midfielder on game, but he can play quite high up, like left wing or second striker for Salford. I think that's a player that's again too good for League Two. I think he's had suitors from Middlesbrough, Bolton, etc. I think he scored against Notts County the other day in his first start from being injured. Um, so yeah, I think he's another solid pick. And I've got one as well that's not really for goal scoring or anything. It's on opposite end of the spectrum. But Sam Foley for Barrow, he's registered as a midfielder. I had him in my squad. He didn't do too well, but he plays as a right-sided centre back in a back three. So there are interceptions there. I believe he got
Yeah.
8 on opening day with 3 interceptions. So he's one for a more low upside pick, but more solid, consistent 6 to 8 region points. You can get more against you're not counties. Your MK Dons like to have quite a lot of possession, so he's a decent option on the flip side of the spectrum.
Right. Excellent. So, have you got any teams that you think are sort of absolute bankers this week? And then have you got any
Yeah, I
teams
think
that you wouldn't touch with a barge pole?
yeah, I think for me, first one that I'd probably pick MK Dons. I think they're going to go on a bit of a roll now. I think you look at players that they brought in, Callum Patterson, and Aaron Collins is injured at the minute, but Mendes, Lang, they've obviously still got some good players as well. Gilby, Sanders, Crowley, who obviously used to play for us. You know what I mean? They've got some very, very good players, and I'd say like players like Collins and Mendes, Lang could play for lower end championship teams when they're fully at it. Um, so gap in quality there really between your teams that they're playing. I think they've got Cheltenham at home, and Cheltenham have lost their first 2 fixtures. I think they struggle to score goals, and I think their 2 best players have been linked with moves away. Ethan Archer on left side to Peterborough, and Jordan Thomas, who I assume Barnsley fans will know has been heavily linked with us.
Yeah.
I think they'll struggle this season. And then they've got Crawley away, who we MK kind of play the same possession sort of style as them. But I think they have better players to do it, and I think that they should dominate. And with Paul One, we all know how good he is with our league managers and getting his ideas across. And I feel like these 2 games are perfect for them to start going on a sort of run. Because they're a team that you'd expect to be winning league for how much they spent really not only on transfer fees but on wages that I'd assume that they'll be paying these players because they're not going to be going to MK Dons in a soulless ball for nothing really. You
No.
look at Huddersfield, I'd say could as well potentially end up being league winners. Um, I think they're playing Blackpool first game and they're quite injury
Uh,
ridden at the moment. You've got Albie Morgan who are high point scoring for Fantasy FL. Imre right back, I think he's injured. And there's a couple others. Horsefall, who was signed from Stockport, he's injured.
yeah.
And Huddersfield seem like they're on a roll a bit at the minute. I think with Blackpool, I think they lost 3-2 at home to Stevenage and lost
4-1.
4-1 against Exeter. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not looking good for them at the minute. I think that's perfect time to target them. And I think they've
Yeah.
got Donny at home, which is a bit more gritty, Yorkshire derby, but I think they have enough quality to get over that line. I think in a defensive sense, not necessarily more of a team pick, but in terms of players that you could target from there, Cardiff, they've got Rotherham, and I believe Sam Nott
Wimbledon away.
obviously is their main threat, and Wimbledon away. So you're looking at them fixtures and you're thinking there's not much goal threat for teams that they're playing. I know
Yeah.
that they didn't do too well against Port Vale, but I think it's more just thinking about fixtures there. I think that they have a good chance for clean sheets in both. In terms of teams that I'd avoid, I'd be Plymouth, um, struggling really bad. Obviously, lost against us, and then Bolton. I think they failed
They seem
to
to have no
register a shot
cutting
on
edge
target.
whatsoever
Yeah, I think that
with Plymouth.
they've been heavily. yeah, they've been heavily linked with that Dale Taylor who's gone to Blackpool. They nearly signed Burrell from Burton who's gone to QPR. They failed to sign a striker yet, which is obviously a main issue for them. But I think they've got defensive problems. The main keeper's injured. One of the main centre halves injured. Um, it just seems like it's not working, and they have a bit of a hangover from championship season. So yeah, I'd avoid them. Mansfield as well. I think they're struggling a bit. No proper striker really. We, obviously with Gregory getting injured and then obviously not featuring again, and they don't really replace a player like that. With that Oshilaja out as well. And I think it's with Mansfield. They've got a good manager, but they don't have many options, I think. And I think if they don't get a couple more in, then they might struggle. So at minute, I'd say Mansfield would be a team to avoid as well.
One of the ones going to suggest to avoid is Rotherham. They seem to have picked up quite a lot of
Rotherham, yeah,
injuries. I think
100%, yeah.
Sam Nombe's out injured. Josh
Yeah,
Benson is out, I think, for 6 weeks. Like water's wet.
again,
So,
yeah.
with that one, it's we're used to that. So, yeah, my team to avoid this week, I think, is Rotherham. Well, thank you very much again for joining us, Scott. It's been very enlightening,
Cheers,
and
mate.
hopefully I can use some of the tips you've given me, and I can beat it again in next week's head-to-head. Well,
I won't trust my
thank you very
advice, mate. Cheers.
I think it's probably better than mine, but right. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.